A family drives past a construction site every morning. Wooden frames, orange safety mesh, workers moving in patterns that look almost random. 6 months later, that skeleton becomes a house. Someone moves in. But here is the strange part. If you asked most adults to explain what actually happened between the dirt and the door keys, they could not tell you. Not the sequence, not the inspections, not why certain trades show up on certain days, or why one mistake in week 3 can cost $50,000 in week 12. We spend $300,000, $500,000, sometimes more on a house, and we have no idea how it gets built. This is not a tour of a construction site. This is the hidden sequence that determines whether a home stands for 80 years or starts failing before the paint dries. And once you see it, you will never look at a building the same way again. Before a single nail gets driven, the ground has to be prepared. This sounds simple. It is not. In 2019, a builder in outer Melbourne skipped proper soil testing to save $4,000. The slab cracked within 18 months. The repair bill exceeded $90,000. Here is what actually happens. A surveyor marks the exact boundaries. Then a geotechnical engineer tests the soil. Clay expands. Sand shifts. Rock needs blasting. Each soil type demands a different footing design. After the tests, earth movers strip the top site, level the pad, and compact it in layers. In Australia, this stage requires a council inspection before concrete arrives. Most homeowners never see this. They show up when the frame appears. But everything that follows depends on what happens to the dirt. A house does not sit on a slab. It sits on soil. And soil has memory. Disturb it wrong, and that memory becomes a crack in your living room floor 20 years from now. Once the soil is ready, the slab gets poured. Concrete trucks arrive at dawn because concrete cures faster in heat. The pour is continuous. Stop halfway and you create a cold joint, a weak seam that can crack under pressure. Steel reinforcement mesh sits inside the slab, positioned precisely. Too low, and it rusts. Too high, and it does not strengthen the concrete. After the slab cures, usually 7 to 14 days, the frame goes up. In Australia, most residential frames are timber or light-gauge steel. A framing crew can stand up a single-story house in 3 to 5 days, but speed hides complexity. Every wall has a load path, a way the weight of the roof travels down to the slab. Get the load path wrong and the house sags. In 2016, a builder in Brisbane installed a beam one size too small. The ceiling bowed within 2 years. Engineers had to retrofit steel posts through the living room. Frame inspection happens before anything gets covered. Once the plaster goes on, mistakes become invisible. After framing, 3 trades enter at once: plumbers, electricians, and HVAC installers. This is called rough-in. Pipes, wires, and ducts get run through the walls before insulation and plaster seal everything away. Coordination matters more here than anywhere else. If the plumber drills through a stud in the wrong spot, the electrician cannot run cable. If the HVAC duct is too large, the ceiling height drops. A job supervisor schedules these trades in tight windows, sometimes on the same day. In 2020, a project in Perth lost 3 weeks because the electrician and plumber arrived out of sequence, each blaming the other for blocking access. 3 weeks on a construction loan can cost the owner thousands in interest. The rough-in stage also includes the first major inspection. Inspectors check that pipes slope correctly for drainage, that wiring meets code, that fire blocking is in place. Fail this inspection, and you cannot insulate. You cannot plaster. The entire job stops. Most buyers never hear about rough-in, but this invisible week shapes whether their house works for the next 50 years. Once rough-in passes inspection, insulation goes into the walls. Then the building gets its external skin, bricks, cladding, render, or weatherboard, windows and external doors get installed, and suddenly the structure can be locked. This is called lockup. It is the most important milestone in residential construction. Why? Because payment schedules are tied to it. In most Australian building contracts, the owner pays a percentage at lockup, often 20 to 30% of the total price. If the builder reaches lockup, they get paid, even if internal finishing takes months longer. A 2018 dispute in Sydney centered on this. The builder claimed lockup, but several windows were missing. The owner refused to pay. The matter went to the building tribunal. The ruling: lockup means weather-tight, not visually complete. Builders know this milestone. Owners often do not. If you are building a home, understand the contract language around lockup. It determines when large sums of money leave your account and what protections you have if work stalls afterwards. After lockup, the interior trades return. This phase is called fix-out, or second fix. Electricians install power points, light fittings, and switchboards. Plumbers connect taps, toilets, and hot water systems. Carpenters hang doors, install architraves, and fit cabinetry. Painters follow, usually in 2 or 3 passes: primer, undercoat, top coat. Fix-out is the longest phase. It can take 6 to 10 weeks depending on the size of the home. It also reveals quality. A skilled carpenter hangs a door, so it swings without touching the frame. A rushed carpenter leaves gaps you can see from across the room. In 2021, a homeowner in Adelaide documented her fix-out on social media. She posted photos of uneven skirting boards, paint drips, and a bathroom vanity installed off-level. The builder initially refused to fix the defects. After the posts went viral, they returned within a week. Fix-out is where attention to detail either shows or hides. And unlike the slab or frame, you will see these details every single day. Before you receive the keys, the house must pass a final inspection. In most states, this is called an occupancy certificate or a certificate of completion. The certifier checks that the build matches the approved plans, that all required inspections were signed off, and that the home is safe to occupy. But here is where many owners make a costly mistake. They assume the final inspection covers quality. It does not. The certifier checks compliance with codes, not craftsmanship. A crooked door handle that still functions will pass. A scratched bench top will pass. Hairline cracks in paint will pass. This is why smart buyers commission a private defects inspection before settlement. In 2017, a building inspector in Victoria published data from 400 residential inspections. The average new home had over 100 defects at handover. Most were minor, some were structural. The cost of fixing defects, after you move in, is almost always higher than fixing them before. Settlement is not the finish line. It is the last moment you have leverage. Use it. Most people think of builders, plumbers, and electricians, but a typical house involves 15 to 20 different trades. Concreters pour the slab. Bricklayers lay the external walls. Roofers install tiles or metal sheeting. Plasterers line the interior. Waterproofers seal wet areas. Tilers finish bathrooms and kitchens. Landscapers grade the yard and install drainage. Each trade operates as a subcontractor. They are not employees of the builder. They move from site to site, often working for multiple builders in the same week. This creates scheduling pressure. If the roofer is delayed on another job, your frame sits exposed to weather. If the tiler books a holiday, your bathroom waits. In 2022, a shortage of plasterers in southeast Queensland added 4 to 6 weeks to average build times. Owners blamed builders. Builders blamed labor markets. But the real lesson is this: your house is not built by one company. It is built by a chain of specialists, each with their own schedule, skill level, and bottlenecks. A house is not assembled. It is sequenced. Each stage depends on the one before. Skip a step, rush an inspection, or hire the wrong trade, and the error compounds through every phase that follows. The families who build well are not the ones who spend the most. They are the ones who understand the sequence. They attend site meetings. They read contracts before signing. They commission independent inspections. They know that lockup triggers payment, that rough-in determines hidden quality, and that final inspection doesn't mean defect-free. You do not need to become a builder, but you should understand enough to ask the right questions at the right time. Because the moment you sign a building contract, you are the one responsible for a $300,000 project. The builder manages the trades. You manage the builder. That is the part nobody explains until it is too late. This is the sequence behind the scaffolding. The process most people never learn until they are already paying for mistakes. If this changed how you see a construction site, subscribe to First Page Academy for the next lesson in money, power, and decisions.